Have you ever reacted to something in a way that surprised even you? Maybe a small comment made you feel worthless, or a little mistake made you feel like everything was falling apart. Sometimes we carry pain, beliefs, and fears that we can't fully explain, and many of them lead back to one place we often overlook: our childhood. Most people don't realize how much their early environment shaped them. Not just the big, obvious moments, but the subtle, repeated experiences, the way your parents spoke to you, how emotions were handled in your home, what love, safety, and attention looked like. These things didn't just stay in the past. They became part of how you see the world, how you treat yourself, and how you navigate relationships. Childhood is the time when our brain is forming its core wiring. Our nervous system is learning what's safe and what's not. Our self-worth is being defined. If you are constantly criticized, ignored, compared, or forced to grow up too quickly, your brain adapted, not by choice, but for survival. Maybe now you overthink every word before you speak, or you feel guilty when you rest. Maybe you don't trust others easily, or you constantly try to prove yourself, even when no one's asking. These aren't flaws. They're patterns formed in response to your earliest lessons about how the world works and what's expected of you. And it's not always about extreme trauma. Sometimes it's about emotional neglect, when your feelings weren't seen, heard, or valued. When you had to suppress parts of yourself just to be accepted or avoid conflict. You learned to shrink, to people please, to hide. And now, as an adult, those same habits may be playing out, quietly influencing your choices, your confidence, and your ability to connect. You might ask yourself, why do I feel so anxious in relationships? Or why do I push people away when they get close? Or why do I sabotage my own success? The answers often lie in childhood wounds, parts of you that didn't feel safe, loved, or good enough. And when those wounds go unhealed, they don't just disappear. They show up as overreactions, fears, and deep insecurities. You may have been told to toughen up, to stop crying, to get over it. But the child in you never did. That child learned to survive by adapting, not by healing. And now, your adult self may still be running on those same survival patterns. It's uncomfortable to admit that something as distant as childhood still affects us today. But awareness is the first step. When you begin to look at your past with compassion instead of shame, you can start to understand yourself. You begin to see your triggers not as weaknesses, but as echoes of an earlier time. Healing doesn't mean blaming your parents. Many of them were doing their best with what they knew. But it does mean breaking the silence, giving a voice to the parts of you that were ignored or misunderstood. It means learning to validate your own emotions, to create safety within yourself, and to unlearn the beliefs that no longer serve you. Maybe your childhood did mess you up more than you thought, but that's not the end of your story, because the patterns that were formed can be broken. The wounds that were buried can be healed. And the life you've been quietly craving, one filled with self-respect, inner peace, and real connection, is still possible. Not by pretending the past didn't matter, but by finally honoring the fact that it did.